This video demonstrates techniques for improving visualization for medial meniscus posterior root repair. These are our disclosures. Standard anterior lateral and anterior medial portals are created and a diagnostic arthroscopy is performed. A probe is used to confirm the medial meniscus posterior root, which is detached and completely torn. As you can see at this point, the posterior medial knee can be very tight, which can make it difficult to introduce instruments to assess and perform an anatomic root repair. In order to improve our visualization as well as access to the posterior medial knee, there are several techniques that we can utilize. We first begin with lengthening and trephination of the MCL, and this can typically be done with the pie crust technique using a spinal needle. The spinal needle is first introduced into the joint under direct visualization and then slightly pulled back and directed proximally, aiming at the proximal 1/3 and femoral insertion of the MCL. This is done while applying gentle valgus stress and a 20-degree of knee flexion to allow for the joint space to open up as demonstrated in the video. Next, the posterior aspect of the femoral condyle can be gently debrided with a cautery and motorized burr to perform a reverse notchplasty. The PCL synovium can be gently debrided, and we typically debride 1 to 2 millimeters of bone to allow for improved visualization and passage of the sutures through and around the meniscus. We then direct our attention to the medial tibial spine. Once again, a cautery and motorized burr can be utilized to shave down 1 to 2 millimeters of the medial tibial spine, which can significantly improve access to and allow placement of our drill guide, while also creating a bleeding bone bed around the root insertion. After all three steps have been performed, we now have great access to the posterior medial aspect of the knee. A cannula is then inserted into the anterior medial portal, and a point-to-point transtibial guide and a 2.7 cannulated drill is introduced into the root insertion under direct visualization. Once we have confirmed our root insertion site, the nitinol wire is shuttled through the cannulated drill and retrieved from the anterior medial portal, and a passing suture is then shuttled through the nitinol wire. The senior author's preferred fixation device is an all-soft tissue knotless anchor, and this is passed into the prepared tunnel. This device comes with 2 repair stitches. The first stitch is passed through the meniscus in a vertical mattress pattern, forming the first part of the modified Mason-Allen configuration using a self-retrieving suture passer. At this point, the meniscus is partially reduced and tensioned. The second stitch is then passed medial to the first stitch, completing the ripstop configuration. Both stitches are then tensioned sequentially until anatomic reduction of the meniscus is achieved.